Here, my fellow citizens, are my conditions. English-only speakers should pay higher taxes. The welfare system should be abolished for big corporations. America should be dropped from the name of this country. Absentee ballots should be allowed for undocumented workers only. The Statue of Liberty should be moved to LA Airport, San Isidro Boulevard, or some place in Oklahoma. The White House should be moved to Puerto Rico, the Congress to Harlem, the United Nations to Wounded Knee. Half of the billboards in the country should be given to poets or anyone who wants to imagine the nation, the other half to children. People who say this is the greatest country in the world should do volunteer work for the homeless, sing the national anthem backwards, or attend every death sentence carried out in the nation. Bibles should be in hotels just one day a month. Every other day, authors and books should include El Aleph, Salman Rushdie, Popol Vuh, Maria Luisa Puga, Karl Marx, Langston Hughes, Joy Harjo, Gloria Saldúa, John Okada, and so on. All Carlos has intimated that he prefers Mondays. Commercials on TV should be limited to 1 minute every hour. The Cuban national baseball team should play in the major leagues. Brooklyn should be the official language of Brooklyn. Miami, the official language of Miami. Pocho, the official language of East Los Angeles. All military forces in foreign lands should return within 30 days. They have the option of staying in those countries and blending in. People who do not use cars should be given free monthly tickets on an airline. More petitions when I become a citizen of this, my nation of others. Is there any Spanish speakers here?
Un poquito.
Okay. I'm going to read this poem as it's written, and then I'm going to read the version in English. It's called Mapa del Día, Map of the Day. I am in all the places I want to be. Camino por las calles de Madison, mirando en el horizonte las montañas de Oaxaca, and the clouds playing tricks on my gaze. Respiro el olor de las jacarandas y sudores del DF, telling me of secret wars and public pleasures. I find pieces of the moon on my nails, murmurándome de encuentros en La Habana, Jalapa y Calle Dolores. Escucho el gemido del mar, del Golfo y del Pacífico en un solo y enorme latido. I feel winter's air on Minnesota, bringing me mañanitas frías en Tijuana. Me voy a dormir en el centro de Monte Albán, bajo las estrellas de octubre, and I wake up on a bus ride to Querétaro in the middle of January, or at the edge of Lake Mendota en una noche de mayo. I am in all the places I want to be. I am in all the places I want to be, without boundaries. Aquí and aquí, estratégicamente viviendo, tactically speaking. This is just the English version. Map of the day. I am in all the places I want to be. I walk through Madison streets, looking in the horizon, Oaxaca's mountains, and the clouds playing tricks to my gaze. I breathe the smell of jacarandas and sweets of Mexico City, telling me of secret wars and public pleasures. I find pieces of the moon on my nails, whispering of encounters in Havana, Jalapa, or Calle Dolores. I listen to the moaning of Gulf of Mexico and the Pacific Ocean in just one huge pulse. I feel winter's air in Minnesota bringing me cold mornings from Tijuana. I go to sleep in the center of Monte Alban under October stars, and I wake up on a bus ride to Querétaro in the middle of January or at the edge of Lake Mendota during a night in May. I am in all the places I want to be. I am in all the places I want to be. My body is a country without borders. Here and here and here, strategically living, tactically speaking. In this book, I have poems in Spanish, poems in English, and poems in Spanglish. But the poems in Spanish I translated and also are in English. The poems in English just appear in English, and the poems in Spanglish just appear in Spanish. Okay? So I'm going to read a poem that I wrote in Spanish, but I'm going to read the translation because I'm very nice.
If I do say so myself.
It's interesting because it's the line by line, the Spanish and the English. And many times I read it both. I go for one to one. But usually is when there are more Spanish speakers. Otherwise, I could do it for you later on. In a bar or something. Okay.
In a bar.
So here it is. The title is El Mundo al Instante, and it's something like the world in a flash, literally, pretty much like that. The translation is the eyes and ears of the world. This is a title or a newsreel or news that was shown in between movies in Latin America in the 1950s, the 1960s, sometimes in the 1970s. In those days, you probably remember that you would go to the movies, and there were 3 movies. And so in between one and another movie, they had this news. The whole idea is that movies, when arrived, they would show that, this is modernity, this is the new form of expression, pretty much 20th century thing. And the news, they would show you some kind of information regarding the big capitals of the world. So you will have mostly about Europe, how Europe were really transforming and so forth. So they were the news. And I took the title, El Mundo al Instante, or The World in a Flash. A woman, barely 23 years old, came out of the cheap movie theater in the city of palaces and walked beneath the night rain on the last Friday of August. She was in a hurry to cross the city and get to her destination. It was like she was looking for the sea. At the same time in Manhattan, Miles Davis and Juliette Greco when entering the lobby of the Waldorf Astoria on Park Avenue, attracting the attention of all who were present, surprised to see a black man who wasn't a servant at the hotel, looking towards the other side of the world. In another city, likewise, lying on the Atlantic seaboard, a thin young man, tall as a building, was walking along Avenida 9 de Julio and thinking about writing a novel that could be read forward and backwards like the children and the nomads moved through the cities. In a Bucareli cafe in Mexico City, Fidel, having his first conversation with Che, had the momentary certainty that history will repeat itself twice, but he won't be involved with the tragedy. In an apartment in San Francisco, citizen Kerouac has been writing for 76 hours straight and was just taking a couple of minutes to open another bottle of mezcal to fill another little plastic cup. In a safe house in Johannesburg, a group of shadows was coming to the conclusion that the theory of a single party wasn't possible. In Mexico City, the woman who had left the movie theater was arriving, soaked by the rain, at the hospital on Gabriel Mancera Street. That woman will be my mother 2 hours later. Every summer I try to go to Mexico, to Oaxaca. This is a southern state in Mexico. And there is something that I do, and I try to do, is to have a temazcal. A temazcal is like a steamed bath, a sweet lodge. This is a very tradition for hundreds of years by the native people for all over the Americas. It was at the beginning, these baths were for women after giving birth. And so was the whole ceremony of cleansing, but also the shaman, the medicine man, and then spread to different people in Mexico before the Spaniards arrived, but the tradition continued. So I do try to find my center and go to this ceremony of cleansing. And so this is Temazcal. It's also the Spanglish, but I'm going to read just the English. It's interesting, the Spanish, because I work a lot with rhythm. And it is not easy to mix two languages and to fit into the rhythm. But anyway, I'm going to read just the Spanish, the English version. Naked in the dark room 6x3, the four healer explained to me in her Spanish learned in the daily interaction with Latinos what I have to do. I throw water to the burning rocks. I lie down on my back and begin rubbing my body and mind as one with the medicine plants we had very patiently gathered. Plants still carry memories of earth and water. They had survived the plunder of many centuries. They know well change of seasons, lining, and the red color. I rub the plants on my body, on my scars, and the desire is still a name for my companion. We have to welcome the good spirits and keep a distance from the vain temptations, according to the old ones. I search for clarity, wisdom, to be just and humble, to know which traditions to break. I throw more water to the burning rose. Shh, 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 shh. A smoking mirror. We have the age of the mountains, the fragile breeding of the birds, the oldness of the newborn. So I'm going to finish with this poem, and it's just usually very strange, the whole process of writing. This is something that happened to me 2001, and it took me more than 10 years to figure out how to do the poem, and it's still not certain that the poem, is what I wanted, but I'm going to read it to you. This is the second time I read it in public, but anyway, it's like in the westerns, the cowboy movies, right? Like in the westerns, as a kid, my father would take me to see westerns After a long day of hard work, where an enigmatic cowboy wandered from town to town solving injustice and putting the bad guys behind bars. He never saw fights nor had ambitions or desires for social mobility. And I thought if God indeed existed, would be like that anonymous, silent, and nomadic Indian vaquero. When entering a bar, he skillfully took a subtle glance, noticing every one of those present, all the possible exits of the bar, and the way mirrors disclose every shadow and fragment of history. Through this cowboy, I would learn about good and evil and just fair, and how to be discreet and humble men. In my dream, more present, a man peeks through the bedroom door like that enigmatic vaquero of the westerns, all dressed in black, even though I only see his leather worn-out boots. In the bed next to mine, my father has been making it smaller like a country in war. And I think he sleeps without exactly knowing where the dream has taken him. My father, that man who daily brightens the city with his steps and foresee the immediate future. And it's big and unpredictable like a highway, like a new dancing emerging one night in the poor neighborhoods. In the bedroom, a recurring groan that never becomes a word wakes me up just when the cowboy takes my father and carries him like a kid in his very profound dream. 1 hour later, my sister calls me from that country in war and tells me that my father has just died. Thank you.